And just what are
Yeah.
your plans for the off season and possibly playing or just doing individual workouts?
Yeah, I mean, probably take a little bit of a break here, just for maybe a week. I don't really want to lose a ton of the stuff I've worked on, and just trying to get my body back to full health. There's some USA basketball stuff I need to get ready for.
Did you? Caitlin Clark just confirmed by accident the departure of her most intimate and ferocious colleague. A message that is obscure is affecting the WNBA, and it appears to verify the startling reality. Sophie Cunningham's Indiana Fever tenure possibly coming to a close. The connection between Cunningham and Clark became one of the season's most significant plotlines, winning over followers and controlling social media conversations. Cunningham was more than simply a sidekick. She was Clark's guard on the court, her confidant and enforcer in the high-stress professional environment. Basketball. Therefore, why would this dynamic? Why is a relationship emerging so quickly? And a surprising conclusion? The affirmation of Sophie's possible departure did not originate from a front office document that was leaked or an unnamed person close to the group. Rather, the startling proof arrived straight from the source, Sophie Cunningham, given in her distinctive, simple way. In her podcast, she didn't hold anything back. Show me something. When talking about her ambitions for the future and professional goals, she said rather simply that she's searching for something much larger, multi-year deal with her next squad, in order for her to ultimately attain financial steadiness and purchase a home, a purpose that has been elusive for many WNBA players in spite of their outstanding ability. Her word choice was intentional and unavoidable. For those who are listening, not like this team, not Indiana, hopefully, but her. The following squad. The wording implied a player who has already made a mental shift on, who is looking at her future via a lens that doesn't always come with the fever. When her co-host mentioned additional possible locations such as one of the league's teams, the New York Liberty, Sophie's reaction to premier franchises was relaxing for Fever supporters who wished she may show some loyalty or desire to remain in Indiana. It might be any place. Just that statement was a shocking revelation that sent shockwaves through the supporters of the Fever. However, the truth of her circumstances makes it even more complex and explosive. Cunningham is currently free to agent, which gives her the authority to sign with any team that extends an offer to her. She desires that Indiana have no unique rights to keep her. However, there is a significant issue that both she needs to think about prospective suitors. Her season ended abruptly due to a severe MCL tear, a wound that needed months of specialized care and surgery recovery. Although she has been sharing encouraging information regarding her recuperation procedure on social media, any group such as the Fever, it will be necessary to thoroughly consider the danger of providing a substantial long-term offer to a guy who just finished such a serious harm with no clear time frame for resuming optimal competitive performance. It was in the fire that they formed their partnership, considering the violent and tumultuous 2024 season that tested the Fever in a manner that nobody expected. Rocking the Indiana Fever was injuries sustained by both parties throughout the year. Caitlin Clark and Cunningham, Sophie, wasting important time because of a number of illnesses. The depth of the TE team was continuously put to the test, and their playoff aspirations were in jeopardy for a lot of the time of year prior to being sidelined. Cunningham's knee injury had solidified her position as the soul and heart of the group's emotional support and defense head. She was the spokesperson in the fierce competition in the locker room, who didn't hesitate to enter in the face of her opponent to defend her superstar comrade from a physical game that occasionally went too far, regardless of whether it was replacing him following a heavy foul on Clark or establishing the mood by using her own aggressiveness and defensiveness. Cunningham contributed an intangible, but priceless. Her non-attendance at the court was a severe setback to team dynamics and performance, demonstrating the value of her presence was really more than a stat sheet. As their the chemistry in the court increased during the season, as did the commotion and conjecture all surrounding it. Their bond turned into an ongoing conversation among fans, with countless people scrutinizing each and every social media engagement, their physique, language used in games, as well as their audience remarks on one another. The focus grew so severe and occasionally so unsuitable that it even generated remarks from contentious sports commentator Skip. Cunningham was surprisingly charged by Biss of exploiting her friendship with Clark in order to increase her personal popularity and a social media following, an assertion that many people thought it was insulting and baseless. This external pressure, which includes intrusive conjecture regarding the characteristics of their companionship, provided an additional layer of adding intricacy to their already significant stakes. Collaboration. The two players had to negotiate not only the typical difficulties in the workplace, basketball, as well as an uncommon degree of examination of the connections between a few teammates have encountered. The ongoing focus may have been occasionally flattering, but it also produced a setting where each gesture was excessively scrutinized and each social media post was examined for underlying significance. Now, the front office of the Indiana Fever is confronting a significant choice that will have effects that last for years. The franchise has a singular focus, overall objective, creating Caitlyn's championship dynasty. Boston, Clark, and Aaliyah. 2 talents from different generations that embody the organization's future. Each and every roster position and the salary cap space in dollars will be carefully examined with this goal in mind. The query they must respond to is a calculating and frigid one that removes the sentimentality and feeling. Do they make a sizable long-term investment? Who is a cherished fan favorite, recuperating from a serious wound and will be 29 in the upcoming season? Or do they allow her to stroll and spend that cash on seek out other free agents who could be younger, safer, or more compatible with their long-range goals? The monetary. The WNBA's realities influence this choice. Even more challenging, in contrast to the NBA, wherein teams are permitted to surpass the salary cap to keep their own athletes through a variety of. Notwithstanding, the WNBA's strict cap on the IB hub generates zero-sum scenarios in which securing a big contract with one player implies that everyone will have less money available. Otherwise, the Fever must also take into account their additional free agents and the requirement to construct a full roster centered on their talents, not only encircle them with costly, complementary parts. This leads us to returning to Caitlin Clark's sentimental. It seems inevitable to say farewell. Although, perhaps there isn't a public Instagram post or an emotional tweet, but those who know how to follow Clark's career. She manages these times of change. We witnessed her send a sincere public message of farewell to her former comrade when Tammy Fagbenley departed the team, thanking them for their time, united and hoping for the best for her. The following chapter. Clark is a person who cherishes connections and isn't scared to be vulnerable when your teammates move. Continue. There is no message with the confirmation received, but in the one that is bound to occur if and when Cunningham. Indications in other places. Alongside Sophie Cunningham, expressing her intentions clearly through her comments about podcasts and the Fever that's difficult business choice that isn't simple. Responses. A farewell note feels like a issue of when rather than if. When it occurs, It will probably be sentimental, emotive, and will verify how many there are already. Believe that this collaboration, as significant as it was, has run its course. Of course, in addition to the interpersonal dynamics, this circumstance brings up important inquiries concerning the ideology of team building. In the WNBA today, to what extent should teams prioritize qualities such as toughness, leadership, and team dynamics as opposed to just athletic, manufacturing, as well as statistics, contribution? The attributes that Cunningham brings don't appear in the box score at all times, although that coaches and teammates often commendation. She is someone who sets culture, who sets expectations for work and responsibility. The Fever needs to take the message into account as well, that permitting Cunningham to step outside would communicate to the remaining players on the roster and to upcoming free agents. Does that indicate a cold, business-first strategy that gives priority to, above everything, winning? Or does it imply a lack of devotion that could make other players reconsider long-term commitment to Indiana? These are the kinds of factors that, at night, keep general managers awake. Additionally, there is the competitive environment to think about. Numerous groups in the league would be thrilled to have a player of Cunningham's aptitude and disposition, particularly candidates seeking that last component to make them stand out. The Sun, Aces, Liberty, and other. All of the playoff clubs may make interesting talks about winning a title right now. Claim that the rebuilding Fever just cannot compete at this time. Sophie may determine that at this point in her career, along with the time frame for her rehabilitation. Unsure, she wishes to optimize her odds of taking home a title instead of as a component in a multi-year undertaking. An important wild card is added by torn MCL to this whole circumstance that isn't